The plan that failed. He was a slave, and he had hit a white man. This was a great crime, and Frederick expected to be punished for it. He expected to be whipped, maybe even beaten to death. But weeks passed, and nothing happened. Why? Was Mr. Covey afraid of him? Perhaps he did not want his neighbors to know he had been beaten by a 16-year-old boy. Whatever the reason, he did nothing. Mr. Covey never laid a hand on Frederick again. 6 months later, Frederick left Mr. Covey's farm. He was sent by his master to work for another man. This man gave Frederick enough to eat and wear. Frederick no longer had to work so hard. With each passing day, he grew stronger. He began to dream again. But Frederick was tired of dreaming about freedom. It was time to act. Frederick and 5 other slaves decided to escape. Frederick was their leader. He planned carefully. They would steal a boat and go as far north as they could. Then they would continue on foot through the woods. They would hide in the daytime, and they would follow the North Star at night. Frederick even wrote out passes, papers that said they were traveling on their master's business. It was a good plan. It should have worked. But one of the slaves who was going with him grew more and more afraid. He told his master of the plan to escape. Frederick and the other slaves were arrested. "What shall I do with my pass?" one of Frederick's friends whispered as they marched off to jail. "Eat it," Frederick whispered back. One way or another, all the passes were destroyed. There was no other proof of the plan to escape. The slaves were threatened, they were whipped, but they admitted nothing. And finally, they were let out of jail and sent back to work. The slave owners of St. Michael's did not have any proof of the runaway plot, but they had been watching Frederick, and they were very suspicious. "I hear he's hard to whip," one said. "I hear he can read and write. I hear he planned that escape." Finally, the slave owners decided that Frederick would have to leave St. Michael's. "Get him out of here," they said to Thomas Auld, "or we warn you, one day he'll wake up with a bullet in his head." Thomas Auld was very angry. Frederick had caused him nothing but trouble. "There's only one thing I can do," he said. "I'm sending you back to Baltimore." Picking cotton.